Boom, and we back. So we've all had those moments when we just finished watching an episode of a show and you start to think to yourself, that was such a weird and out of place episode. Or I'm pretty sure you can think back on a certain episode of a show from when you were younger, where you're now starting to realize, damn, that's a really odd episode. And also you remember the trauma it gave you. Now I'm not talking about the shows that are known for being weird, zany, and outlandish. No, I'm talking about your typical, normal, very grounded show. I'm not trying to say these episodes were bad. Honestly, what I'm trying to find out today is one, how weird was it? Or was it even really that weird? And two, was it good, bad, or would it have been dope to see more episodes like it from the series? So I would say you know how the series goes, but I'm always changing things and adding new stuff. So if you're new here, how this usually goes is I briefly summarize the episodes with a little bit of my input here and there, and I get my thoughts on the episodes and rank them. But I'm adding something new for this video, which will be some of my live reactions to the episodes. We'll see how it goes. Now with all that out the way, let's get into it. Dinosaurs' weirdest episode. You have Robbie, who wants to take his crush Caroline to a school dance. As he goes to try to ask her to be his date, one of the school jocks, Dolph, passes by. Caroline makes a fawn over Dolph's muscles.
Bitch swear
That he's like a magnificent living sculpture. Right. Later, Robbie goes to ask his sister Charlene for advice. He somehow ends up being roasted by his sister and father for being a scrawny little chicken. The mother presses their father to help out Robbie in some way, so he spends weeks helping Robbie work out. After seeing minimal progress, Robbie gives up. As he's venting to Spike, Spike tells him that Dolph has an unfair advantage anyways, since he's using Thornoids. Robbie doesn't know what that is, so Spike tries to be a W friend and play it off like he made the whole thing up. But Robbie pleads and begs Spike to tell him what it is. He gives in and tells him it's some kind of muscle enhancer, aka steroids. End of story. He tells him to leave it alone. As they go their separate ways, Robbie sees Dolph going into his locker and eating a spiky looking creature. After seeing this, Robbie breaks into Dolph's locker and eats one of the Thornoids. The next day, out of nowhere, Robbie's buff as hell. He's aki as shit. He goes to ask Caroline to the dance, but Dolph was in the middle of asking her to go. So what does Robbie do? He sucker punches Dolph, and that he'll see Caroline on Saturday. The rest of the episode is just Robbie being a complete meathead. He's having roid rage moments. His family is scared of him, and he ends up scaring Caroline away. But thanks to Spike, he returns to normal. Now, is the episode weird? Yes it is. I will say, I didn't watch this show growing up, so there could be episodes weirder than this one in the series. But why the fuck is the dinosaur taking goddamn steroids? I wish I had my reaction to this episode, especially when they show Robbie all juiced up. Like, you would think it would be naturally easier for them to attain bigger muscles. And why did his voice get deeply distorted? I don't think that's one of the benefits of taking steroids. Also, isn't it kind of messed up that they have to eat the little creatures while they're alive? And how do you even discover that they have muscle enhancing properties? Which, by the way, is odd and a little confusing to me how Dolph was taking Thornoids, because up top he was looking a little frail, but the bottom, my son was damn boy, he's thick. Another thing that was pretty weird was how Caroline supposedly liked Robbie even before he got the muscles, but yet she was drooling over Dolph right in front of Robbie. Now there's two really weird moments in this episode. One, it happens off screen, but we find out Robbie dumped a bowl of punch on a kid's head, all because he was asking Caroline for the time. Honestly, all this scene needs is Robbie wearing a white beater, because he was giving the vibes. And two, when Robbie was rushing his sister to get out the bathroom, so he busts open the door while she's washing her unmentionables, which was pretty fucking weird. You're sick. Overall, the episode is very odd and bizarre. Next episode, Saved by the Bell's weirdest episode. This is a pretty well-known episode. I'll just quickly summarize it. You have Jessie who wants to keep herself away so that she's able to study as much as she can for geometry tests. She's overly obsessed and wants to get a good grade since she wants to get into Stanford. At first, she drinks a bunch of coffee, but she doesn't like the taste of it, so she decides to start taking caffeine pills, like heavily. Scratch that. It gets pretty bad. She abuses the use of it. Since she's juggling a few things going on in her life, it gets to the point where she's jittery. She can't really stay still. She's over the top with her energy, and by the end of it, she crashes. It all comes crumbling down. She doesn't really remember taking the test. She starts to panic and get frustrated. There's never enough time. She's afraid she won't get to Stanford, that she'll disappoint and let everyone down. Zach reassures her that it's alright to be afraid. Jessie learns that it's okay to not be the best at everything. Now, was this episode weird? Yo, she's sleeping with shoes. She's sleeping with shoes on the fucking bed. Why does she got shoes on in the bed? Yo, who taught you this? Well, it might leave you feeling uncomfortable. It's odd to me that a high schooler would go to such lengths to keep herself awake, mostly all because of one class. I think if she was worrying about school, a job, and family obligations, it would make more sense. But that's not the case. So why? What makes it especially weird is that no one's putting this pressure on her. Nobody told her in this high regard or standard. Nobody told her that she has to get into Stanford. Like, why was she so dead set on just one school? Another thing that was weird, there was no parental or adult figure throughout the whole episode. So it's up to these dumbass teenagers to resolve the issue, which, by the way, all friends were not noticing Jessie acting strange. Slater knew what was going on, but by the time he said anything to anyone, it was already too late. And the person he told was Zach, who was too worried about getting the girls a music deal, so he doesn't believe him since Jessie is his friend. What? And that's her boyfriend. What the fuck? Yo, I'm her boyfriend. I know what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah, that's my friend. What? Zach is the type of person who needs to see it to believe it. So when Jessie tries to pop pills in front of him, then he's like, oh damn, Slater wasn't lying. And where are her parents? Hello? And the interaction where he's telling her it's okay to be scared made me cringe. It was so awkward. Now I'm confused on the point he was trying to make when he was telling her to remember when they were on their way back from seeing E.T. They were also scared too at the time. Okay, and yeah, that's it. The scene ends. Also, the music video they decided to throw in dragged on way too long. It felt out of place. I think it would have been better to just see the behind the scenes of it or something. I don't know. I say never speak of this again. Next, Sabrina's weirdest episode. You have Sabrina who realizes that they never had pancakes for breakfast, so she decides to zap them up. As she goes to take her first bite, her aunt stops her from doing so, since her family has an awful weakness for them. One bite and they become madly addicted to them. Her aunt Zelda even goes as far as to cast a spell to prevent Sabrina from conjuring pancakes. Just one little problem. They didn't take away the plate of pancakes that Salem was eating, so Sabrina can't resist. One bite can't hurt, right? Yeah, she starts to act like a fiend when she gets to school. You know, she just goes into the trash after Harvey finished the pancakes he was eating, all for the taste of some syrup. Then in class, she tries to lick Harvey's fingers. Bro, what am I watching? She's fidgety, she's antsy, she presses one of her classmates for pancakes. She's having loud outbursts about pancakes, which causes her to shoot herself in the foot, since the teacher takes it as an idea for the fundraiser the school is trying to have. So Sabrina and Salem brew a syrup that will make her hate the taste of pancakes. But come on, you know this plan fails, because the next day at school, her special syrup gets mixed in with all the other ones, so she gives into temptation and has a Squidward moment. And when she gets home, she has a Violet moment from Willy Wonka, after the doctor returns her to her normal size. Anza had Sabrina stay in her room until she beats his addiction. After a dream and a hallucination, she finally returns to her normal self. And now is the episode weird? Yeah, it's just pancakes, 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 and more pancakes. I don't know what this was a PSA for. I don't know what drug or substance, but why pancakes? They're so fucking trash. And if it was some waffles or French toast, they don't make some sense. That's some crack right there. But that's not the point. Why did they have her dig into a trash can just for a little taste? That's pretty gnarly. They got her drooling over it, pressing her classmates and cat. She's trying to whip up some pancakes late at night. She's going through withdrawals. She's dreaming about them and having hallucinations about this syrup lady. I just want to understand why they had the same effect as if she was actually using drugs. I think it would have been better for the episode if it had some unique effect on her, since you know she's a witch and all. Instead, you got her trying to lick Harvey's fingers, which is very foul. He could have just scratched his ass or balls. Also, was it just a coincidence that Sabrina and the school syrup bottle were the same? Bitch, you took my syrup. Or did she intentionally make it look the same as the school? Because if it's the latter, she's really goofy for that. Overall, the episode is very odd and bizarre. On to the next. Sound feels weird this episode. Honestly, I don't really have to summarize it, and it's also hard to anyways. The reason it's considered to be weird is because of the way the episode, I guess in a sense, the way it was edited and the way everything unfolds, since the entire episode is played from end to start. But it's a pretty weird episode. Where do I even begin? First off, the time skips, or I guess the reverse time skips, or maybe the flashbacks. I don't know. Basically, the whole episode has a bunch of time cuts. 30 minutes earlier, 15 minutes earlier, 2 minutes ago, 4 hours earlier back in New York. This shit was insane. Then you have Jerry and George doing some very concerning things by getting Elaine drunk, because apparently her weakness is schnapps, and she becomes a chatterbox. She reveals any secrets she knows. So she tells George that Jerry slept with the girl that Jerry set him up with. That's so you clap. Next day you set her up with Tremaines. That's wild. Mans. That's wildly disrespectful. Now George wants to sleep with Elaine for some kind of reparation. Now that's just nuts and even more disrespectful. While they're arguing about this, it's revealed that Elaine slept with the groom in the past. Jesus. I don't know what the fuck was going on. What kind of friendship they got going on here? Honestly, at this point, somebody gotta throw hands, because all this disrespect is out of pocket. Then at one point in the episode, Jerry is wondering why there's a bowl of Fruit Loops in his kitchen drawer. Yeah, 30 minutes earlier, Kramer somehow spilled the whole bowl. You fucking buffoon. So he just scoops it into the drawer. Why? Also, George wearing Timberland boots in India is crazy. In that weather, he's different. Nah, I know his feet gotta smell wicked. I almost forgot. I think Kramer's storyline was the weirdest, since one of his friends wished for him to drop dead because he hit him with a snowball 2 years ago. Also, why did he have this big ass lollipop? A whole grown ass man. And he dogged it in 30 minutes. Freaky ass motherfucker. But I think the weirdest thing about this episode is why does this shit look so crispy? This shit aired back in 1998. Did this get remastered or something? Because damn, this looks better than any show that came out in the early 2000s. To me, this episode was weirdly entertaining. Next. Boy Meets World's weirdest episode. You got Corey who one day while he's sleeping starts to have a dream, or I guess a nightmare, of him murdering his best friend Sean by pushing him down an elevator shaft. After waking up screaming and telling Sean he's his bestie, he falls back to sleep. Again, here's another nightmare of him murdering Sean. This time he chokes the fuck out of him. Sean is fed up with Corey's nightmares. He tells Angela and Topanga that Corey hasn't slept for 3 days, that he ironed all of Sean's boxers and put mousse in his hair. Corey's on edge. He has 6 goddamn cups of coffee, and he's overly aggressive. Then after class, Mr. Feeney tells Corey that he's acting very strange. Corey tells him about the nightmares he's been having. Mr. Feeney tells him that's a very normal thing, and that the elevator shaft represents the ups and downs of their friendship. He tells Corey to forgive Sean and the nightmares will cease. Sean returns to the classroom with a belated birthday gift for Corey. He got him a baseball bat. Yeah, this was all a dream, and Corey tried to beat the fuck out of Sean's head. After waking up from a nightmare, Corey forgives Sean for whatever he did, but it doesn't work, so Corey goes to talk to the real Mr. Feeney. Mr. Feeney tells him to finish his dream, since he's always waking up screaming as he's murdering Sean, so he does. And he learns that the reason he was having these messed up dreams was because he's afraid that after he gets married, everything in his life will change. All of the opportunities he might lose out on, all the things he could have done with other people or partners. He's not sure if he might be rushing into marriage. Now the episode, I wasn't say it's not that weird, but the nightmare sequences are rather peculiar. What the fuck? What the fuck is happening? Especially when you have Dream Feeney telling Corey that's perfectly normal to have dreams about murdering your best friend. No, it's not. Let's say hypothetically I did have a dream like that. I would wake up in the morning like, damn, what a wild dream, and keep it pushing, because I know it would never happen again. And if it somehow did, it wouldn't be back to back like Corey, who has had multiple graphic nightmares about murdering Sean. What kind of, these are some wicked ass fucking dreams. These are, for example, pouring lava down his pants, ripping his heart out with salad tongs, or how about sticking an umbrella down Sean's throat and opening it? What kind of Mortal Kombat fatality we got going on here? If this was my best friend telling me about how he just constantly murdered me in his dreams, I'm gonna take him to be evaluated by a professional, because I need to know what's going on and what it means. There ain't no ways of representation for letting go, and it's setting the changes that will happen in your future. I don't know, that's very bizarre. Also, why does he make these unusual faces as he's murdering Sean? I almost forgot about this scene where Corey is treating Sean like some little kid.
It looks good. Yes, it does.
Yeah, he's off his rocker. But I think what brings it all together and makes this episode really weird is the storyline with Eric and his new roommate, who for some reason calls him on the phone while they're in the same room, and who also likes to give voices to his dead family members and pet parrot. Yeah, he seems to not be all up there. Oh yeah, they had this neighbor who locked herself out of her apartment after she finished taking a shower. At least she remembered to bring her towel this time. Yeah, this isn't the first time. How? You know what? I don't want to know. I'm not gonna lie. What really shook me to my core was the demon herself. Lauren! Wait, she returned. Wait. But man, still paying good. Yo, bring back Lauren, bro. Like, come on, man. If you know, you know. Hey, go watch those Valentine episodes if you want to be informed. Overall, this episode was weirdly entertaining. Next episode, the XFiles weirdest episode. Buckle in, this one's a doozy. So we have Mulder and Scully, who have been requested to head to a small town to investigate some kind of monster break into a woman's home. The woman was put to sleep for 3 days by some chemical fumes, which this is the second time this has happened to her. The first time was 18 years ago, and it resulted in her becoming pregnant with her son Izzy, and again she has become pregnant. The really weird thing about that is that 2 years ago she had 2 ligations. Later, Izzy takes Mulder and Scully out to a field to trial out the monster. Supposedly everyone in town has seen it. The deformed creature takes the bait. They go chasing after it, but they somehow lose sight of it. They come across a farmer who sends them to the real monster, his son who's a scientist, Dr. Polidori. They don't really learn much, except that he's been experimenting on changing the genetics of a fly. Mulder asks him if it would be possible to do the same to humans. He tells them theoretically, yes. The next day as they're on their way to go to try to talk to Dr. Polidori again, they pass by a house covered in tarp. They head inside to investigate, but they become unconscious from some kind of chemical fumes, and we find out that the farmer has been helping this deformed monster inseminate these women. This time it was Dr. Polidori's wife. He realizes who is behind this, but he doesn't say anything to Mulder and Scully. Dr. Polidori heads to his father's farm and strangles him to death. Wow. Scully discovers that the chemical used to put the victims to sleep are only found in farms, so they head over to Mr. Polidori's farm. As they're investigating, an angry mob led by Dr. Polidori show up to look for the monster. Mulder and Scully find the deformed man before the crazy mob do. They try to escape with it, but they get noticed, so the deformed man explains what's really going on. Obviously he was created by Dr. Polidori. Mr. Polidori took him in and raised him as his own. The reason the father did all this was that so he could create a mate for his deformed son, but it failed. And we find out the father sees inseminated women are animals. What? What the fuck? Yeah. Now is the episode? Yes, it's fucking weird. Off rip, just reading the description alone, I knew I was gonna witness something unholy. That is crazy. What the fuck is that? Bro, that's fucking wicked. Nah. But it was taking a step further when it's revealed that some people in town are offsprings of animals. My mind was blown the hell back. Nah. No. Bro, so he's from a fucking horse. The news reporter is from a chicken. That's why she's like that. What? Nah. No, what am I? Yo, I couldn't process what the hell I just watched. What makes it even more sick is the fact that everyone is seemingly fine with this, especially her. Look at her freaky ass. She's been wanting a kid. I think it's very strange how they try to make you feel sympathy for the deformed man. Don't get me wrong, it's messed up that he was a failed experiment and this was the result of that. But they try to spin it like, come on guys, he's just lonely. No, that's weird. Why would you do that to these women? I get the part of him wanting to feel normal, to not be judged, and wanting to be able to go out and experience life. But shame on his father for introducing the idea of him needing a partner and continuing his failed experiments. Why not start small and normal by finding people who will accept him? Also, why does the episode end with them going to see Cher and then showing us the 2 deformed babies the woman had? 1, why the fuck did they go on Jerry Springer? 2, how is this okay? Won't they have some kind of health complications? And 3, why would y'all do this now that you're gonna be bullied? I don't know. Another thing that might be considered weird to some people is the episode being in black and white, which does fit the old school monster movie vibe I was going for. I will say some scenes with Mulder and Scully fell out of place. It's like Mulder was playing to his character from a different time period that fit perfectly in this environment, while Scully was more grounded in set reality. I don't know, maybe that was intentional, but it was odd at times. Also, the townspeople are bonkers. These freaky ass people. Yo, why are you looking at me like, yo, get out my face. Yo, back up. Hot ass breath. Yo, much shit. Yo, get the fuck up. Yo, what the fuck?
The next day.
Mother, if you don't go fucking ground by his fucking throat. Damn, it's crazy how people switch up real quick. He was on my dick the other day. Yup. Nah, you gotta fight him. You gotta fight him. Nah, you gotta fight him. If you bring that plate to me, I'm smacking the fuck. Bro, there's no way. I'm smacking the fuck out you now. Yo, nah. Everybody's nah. I'm in the FBI and I'm be on the FBI's most wanted list because ain't no fucking way. Oh yeah, Izzy is an interesting character. Why did he? We were the. What else? Why did he just stop talking? What? Why did he even have the line? Why did it just say? They don't even finish it. Just say something and don't even finish the line. Just fuck it. Yeah, this episode has some entertaining moments, but overall, never speak of it again. On to the next. SpongeBob's weirdest episode. I'm gonna throw 2 in here since they revolve around Squidward, and it's sort of in the same realm of what they put him through. The first one, come on, I don't even have to summarize it. All I have to say is. It's a certified classic. It's a very well-known episode. If you somehow never seen it, shame on you. Now the second episode is about Squidward complaining to Mr. Krabs that he doesn't have anywhere to put his personal belongings, aka his clarinet. So Mr. Krabs gives him this dusty ass locker to share with SpongeBob. SpongeBob cleans it up and somehow expands the inside of it. As Squidward goes about his workday, he gets worried about his clarinet with all the noise SpongeBob is making with the construction he has continued to do inside the locker. So he goes to check on his clarinet, and bear with me, this is when it gets a little trippy. Somehow the locker was even further expanded. It's taller, wider, has a bunch of different corridors. Squidward is then sent on a wild scavenger hunt chasing down SpongeBob for his goddamn clarinet. He finds a secret passage that leads him to a field of giant clarinets. He continues to chase after SpongeBob, which he then comes across a giant eagle head. The eagle swallows Squidward since he didn't respect him or this land. As he lands in the stomach, SpongeBob is there. Squidward tackles him and he ends up in a room with two mirrors. His reflections act on their own and they swallow his clarinet. Fucking throat goats. Yeah, it gets to a point where he's chasing SpongeBob in space. Squidward finally catches him and his hallucination ends. What caused this? I have no clue. Now these episodes weird? Yes and no. I think it's a big mix of being weird, trippy, psychedelic, and a little unsettling. It was like some sort of fever dream. For the majority of these 2 episodes, I was left puzzled, confused, baffled, and speechless. Like in the first episode, how does no one find Squidward? You know, if the hinges on the door didn't rust and break, he would have never been found, which is insane. For what purpose is everything chrome in the future? Why is there multiple robot SpongeBobs? Why? At least the prehistoric times isn't too weird. It's more creepy if anything. Also, I thought this was supposed to be the prehistoric times, not the UK. What in the hell is this void? This shit is uncanny. Just being trapped here with nothing but your thoughts, a clarinet, and these random voices. Freck no dude. Then the second episode, honestly, it's just an acid trip. I don't know what Squidward was off of. I do want to talk about this one scene that I didn't mention before. Forget Squidward being small. What in the hell is that pinball machine? That's some body horror type shit. And then why do they zoom in on Squidward's crusty face after he's done tripping balls? I don't know what else to say. I can't even really logically give my thoughts. I just have so many questions. But I will say the first episode was obviously a classic and it's weirdly entertaining. And the second episode, yeah, they were definitely on drugs. Next, Teen Titans' weirdest episode, I went through a child's cartoon world with this dumbass Larry Robin, a British America world, surfing through TV channels where they address the audience to tell them to stop watching. No lie, at one point they almost convinced me to being trapped inside a magician's hat where everyone is turned into animals except Beast Boy. He's a lamp. Then to a Candyland version of the tower with his creepy grandma. But out of the 6 that I watched, I narrowed down to this one, which is about the Titans trying to capture this ship since it keeps attacking farms. But it gets away again for the 3rd time, so they head back to the tower to prepare for the next encounter with it. While they're doing so, Beast Boy tries to convince Robin that it's time for him to get his own vehicle. Robin tells him that there's no point since he could just fly. As Beast Boy is venting his frustrations to Raven, she suggests that he get a job. After he fails at the first 3 jobs, he ends up going to a fast food place he's been avoiding with the sign human help wanted.
You don't find that suspicious?
He starts to realize this might be a mistake, but this all-put-in manager tells him the employee of the month will be rewarded the moped he's been wanting. So he gives in and starts serving these plain-ass burgers, which are made from Bob, the manager. And it turns out the one behind this, the UFOs in the cow ceiling, was a tofu alien who stole the cows for energy, then was planning on replacing them with Nofu. And after leaving, they were gonna blow up the planet. But Beast Boy saves the day, and the alien tofu ends up getting eaten by Cyborg. Now, is this episode weird? Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward and simple episode, but it's pretty fucking weird that the antagonist for this episode is an alien tofu that can create this goop that can turn into a human that can then transform into a burger. I don't know if I should be grossed out that it's a tofu burger or that it's an alien or maybe both. What was really disturbing though, no Bev, you out here busting down these burgers, no Bev, that's kind of crazy. It's the most trash looking burger. Where's the condiments, man? These dry mouth bastards. I'm not gonna lie, getting a burger with no type of condiments is psychotic behavior. Also, how does no one find this restaurant that only serves meat suspicious? That also has a human help wanted sign. Like, is that not ringing alarms in your head? And then you have this goofy ass manager Bob who acts like such an NPC. Overall, the episode is very odd and bizarre. Another thing, the team felt disjointed. Something was off. It felt like Beast Boy was alienated from them. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Next episode. And finally, Ed and Eddie's weirdest episode. I want to say this is a well-known episode, but I also feel like it's kind of been forgotten about. It does get pretty outlandish, so I'll keep the summary short. You have Ed disturbing Eddie by being fake woke because he can't sleep. So when it becomes morning, they go to Double D's house. While they are there, Eddie gets the idea that they could become rich and famous by learning. They begin their journey at Ed's house. After leaving there, that's when things begin to get out of hand and very wacky. Houses become small, the pavement can be lifted. Eddie gets hungry, so he takes a bite out of the sun, which turns into nighttime. He then removes the character outline from Jimmy. Ed is somehow able to cut a home reality. Then there's a cow in the sky that sounds like a rooster. Yeah, so from here, I'm gonna let the visuals do most of the talking, because at this point, it'll have you like, whoa, wow, man. Somebody for sure had to be on shrooms when they came up with this. Or maybe just like how Ed couldn't sleep in the beginning, neither could the creator, and they somehow got to this idea. It feels like someone is playing God, just bending and warping time and space. Oh yeah, I forgot to say this. Obviously, this episode is crazy, batshit weird. As it progresses, it just gets weirder, abnormal, and it goes off the wall. But I will say, artistically, it wasn't a class of its own at the time when it aired, and the way it was directed is definitely interesting. If you ever plan on going back to watch it, I think you should be high to truly enhance your experience with this. Overall, the episode drugs, they were definitely on drugs. Well, that's all the episodes that I talked about. I definitely thought I would have had more, but when I was doing the research, I just kept seeing shows I never watched before, and I didn't want to throw in too many shows I haven't seen. Also, I did have a few more episodes that I watched, but they just either didn't fit in for what I was trying to go for here, or I saved them for future videos. So stay tuned for that. Those should be very interesting. But I'm chatting like usual. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Should I add more of my live reactions to the series in the future that I miss anything? What's the weirdest episode you've seen? Or just leave a random comment. I enjoy talking and engaging with y'all. So with that, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, share with your besties, the girlies, the boys, or whoever you think might enjoy my content. Other than that, I'm out. Peace.
I'll show you the monster you're looking for.
It's right here in my pants. Is that fucking Andrew Garfield?